It's the NFL Pick'em versus the Spread Show. I'm Cab Manning from the Lingus Mafia podcast at Lingus Mafia. Imagine that. I'm with your favorite long-haired guy who someone beat you to it, Billy. They're the first Muslim head coach in NFL football. Not you, but you're Billy Body. How are you?
I'm good. I'm getting better slowly. Well, I mean, I'm getting to the point. I've recovered from COVID to the point where they've discharged me from the COVID hub. They actually text me today because they want this fucking oxygen.
Yeah, I got one too.
They want it. They want it back. They were like,
let's test our meter. Let's see who has better oxygen level, because I don't think I have a good one.
They were like, please stop sending us your readings. You have been discharged.
Really?
And please send back your oxygen meter. There's no way they're getting this back. I'm 98, which is really. When I was really struggling, Cav, I was at 91%, and
really?
that's what they were thinking of putting me on oxygen. My heart rate's at 77, 78.
I can't turn this fucking thing on, so I must be dead. The hell?
Does it need a battery?
I mean, we used it before. You know what? Batteries are fucking gone. Would the girlfriend take the fucking batteries out of this thing? Here's batteries inside the fucking box. Why would she take it out? Let's see. I think I'm like at 94 all the time, though, so I'm not that fucking great anyway. I might have a fucking problem here.
94 is not good. 94 is not good oxygen saturation.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. Well, let's see. You put it on your pointer finger and just relax?
Yeah, you just put it on and then and then press the button.
Yeah, it's at 95.
That's okay. It's when it goes below 94, 93, 92, like 91's really bad. Like that's when they wanted to take me in. Like the people that are like, dying.
Yeah.
And they're on like fucking ventilators and stuff. They're apparently under 75.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, we'll see if you have a heart attack if the fucking Rams win this weekend. Maybe. For a little bit, I was like, that was my hot take. I said, as well as they fucking looked last time they played, I was like, And I go, why was Goff not starting? The motherfucker looked the best he has like this year.
Did he though? Did he? How's his little thumb gonna hold up in this fucking ice cold weather? That
is my biggest concern, because we know that the Rams, especially Goff, they don't play well in the fucking cold.
No.
That is a main reason it's hard to take them, because of that. I think they have the ability to get into Rodgers' lap because Aaron Donald's just a fucking monster. But he's hurt too. But I don't know to what extent he's hurt. It wasn't like, he did the I'm not practicing this week, but does he really need to? It's not like he needs any fucking extra.
Let's get the numbers out here.
It's right now, it is 6.5 points.
Yep.
Where that's when I always like something, when it's that, where you get a touchdown, it's over,
So the sharp bettors, they initially hit the Rams at 7. They've not been that interested at 6.5. And they played this and the under's gone down at 1.5. That doesn't sound like shit, but in betting terms, once they set a line and it moves a 1.5, 2 points, that is considerable money that's coming on the under. So I think these guys are thinking it's going to be a cold weather game, and they're probably looking for the Rams obviously to struggle to put up points, and obviously run the ball a lot, which is going to kill clock. But at the same time, they think Aaron Rodgers is going to struggle against this defense. But I don't know. Like he hasn't struggled against many defenses. We haven't actually been as good at home putting up points as we've been on the road. But I still find it difficult to see us being eliminated by the Rams here. There's some statistics that I want to run through. I did a lot of work this week coming off the back of last week.
Real quick, what's your over-under that you see?
45.5.
Yeah, okay. I got the same one.
Yeah, so I did a lot of work this week. Last week, I went 2-4 with our picks. I did not land my lock. I landed my secondary, but that was easy. That was a big parlay on New Orleans and Tampa. So I've caught up with you on secondaries, but I'm leading you still by the locks because you just you didn't get your lock last week. I mean, that lock that you played, that was the most played game. That was the best situation to play with the Browns having no coach and like Baker meeting his receivers in the locker room, and the whole situation was there. But they gave the game away and with the first play of the game. You just knew immediately that was going to be how it panned out. So look at this data here for this particular game with the Packers. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got it down as Chiefs and Packers data initially. Packers and Chief data. Number one seeds in the NFC have gone 19-11 against the spread. So that's the 6.5 in the last 30. And number one seeds in the AFC have gone 12-17 ATS.
Ooh.
The number one seeds have struggled in the AFC to cover. Divisional dogs offer wild card upset, who are dogs again the following week. So we're looking at the Rams and the Browns, who upset teams last week. The following week, they end up going 12-46 straight up and 22-36 against the spread. So once they do one upset, they tend not to do another. It's only happened 12 times out of 48. Sorry, that's not right. 12 times out of 58. Here's the strong Packers data. Teams are 33-15 against the spread in the divisional round if they lose the conference championship the year before. So if they go to the conference championship and they lose that conference championship game, but then they also get to the divisional round the following year, 33 times out of 48, so 33-15, they cover the spread. Now get this, it gets even more crazy. Teams are 21-3 ATS in the divisional round when they lose the conference championship the year before, but they play an opponent who won by double digits the week before. That is the Rams. So in this situation, Green Bay coming into it would be a team who followed the 21-3 ATS divisional round trend because they lost the conference championship last year. They're in this divisional round, and even if the Rams didn't win by double digits, we would still be following along with the 33-15 trend. So 33 times out of 48, the divisional winner, in the divisional game, the conference team that lost the conference championship the year before do cover the spread. So for me, I will be taking the Packers here to cover the spread simply as a experienced gambler who's gone and bothered to do the research to pull up the data, not because I want Green Bay to win this game. But I do think it's a good situation because they don't really know who their quarterback's going to be. There's issues with Goff. There's issues with Goff and the coach. There's issues with Goff in cold weather. There's defenders missing. Like, we don't know who's going to be there for the Rams. It didn't cause them any problems last week. But I also think people are reading a lot into the win over Seattle. Seattle played really badly. Like, Russell Wilson played like shit. He hasn't been the same player for the last half of the season anyway. They were talking about him being the MVP, and those conversations completely dried up towards the second half of the season anyway. So I don't know how impressive that win was, but we're not Seattle. Going to Lambeau Field in the playoffs in January is not going to Seattle, especially when Seattle don't have a crowd. That's their whole home field advantage gone. Our home field advantage, yes, we don't have a crowd there. We don't have anyone in the crowd, or we may have some people in the crowd. I don't know what the situation is.
Very little, yeah.
But even with that said, our real advantage is the ridiculous freezing cold weather that we play in at this time of the year. Obviously, I'd rather be in a situation having the late game where it gets even colder, because Buffalo are going to be the beneficiaries of that when they play Baltimore, because they're going to be really playing in the super cold weather later on in the evening. But I think the game is late enough for it to get cold enough. I've looked at the weather and it just about starts getting cold. It's going to be fucking freezing cold by the third and fourth quarter.
Like for the Baltimore Buffalo, I don't think that even. Well, now they're going to have fans, so that's the only help, I think, because they're both very cold this time of year in Baltimore and Buffalo.
Well, actually,
Lamar
Jackson has never played a game at freezing temperatures, and he's never played a game in snow, like never in his career.
Yeah, if it snows, that'll help for sure, because then that running slows the fuck down quickly. Like last week when we were talking about Baltimore and them, and I just said, I'm like, again, hot at the right time. It worried me. It worried me. You made a good case for the other side for them to lose, and they ended up stomping all over their logo at the end of that one.
So who do you like in the first game?
God, it's hard to pick against Green Bay because they're playing so well. Rodgers is doing his MVP tour, his pissed off tour at the same time. I'll have to take Green Bay. However, I'm not a zillion percent on it. I do have that inkling of I would not take the Rams lightly. I would not think of this as, oh, good, I get the Rams. I'd be nervous. We have seen the Rams do Jekyll and Hyde way too much. They lose to the fucking Jets, and then they beat a world beat. It's like if you told me they lost every game, I wouldn't be surprised. If you told me they won every game, I wouldn't be surprised.
This is the whole point, Cab. The teams that, like I said, the teams that pull off these wild card upsets, they end up going 12-46 the next week. So I don't think many people thought that they would beat Seattle, especially with that quarterback situation coming in. And if you're looking at Jekyll and Hyde, well, they've done one side of that already. So this week there should be some normalcy. I mean, I don't want to make too strong a case for it because I am worried about someone tripping us up here. It just looks like too much of an easy path. It looks like 2 games at Lambeau Field. It's what we wanted the whole time. The Rams get there instead of us having to play Tampa Bay. Now we have a situation where New Orleans, I think, will get rid of Tampa Bay for us. Then we get to play New Orleans, who we already beat on the road. It seems like a nice route. New Orleans always struggle in the playoffs as well. They always have some kind of bad luck. So it looks really, really nice for Green Bay. It looks too nice. I'd almost, if we were here coming up against Tampa, you would at least be more aware of the threat. Whereas, like, other than the sharp people that bet it, other than the experts that came in, and they don't even care about who's playing. They don't care about any of that shit. They just play numbers. These sharps, they just play numbers. They also play the opposite side of the public. They know that Green Bay Packers are going to be backed almost at 80% here this weekend by the public. So the sharps know there's no such thing as a poor bookmaker. So they automatically just play the other side. They always just play the other side of the public, or they play numbers that they don't think are going to stick around for long. And that's what they did. They played this 7 and they played this under here. So I wouldn't weigh too much into that. I'm looking at the actual game. I'm looking at the players that could be missing on the defensive side for the Rams. I'm looking at the quarterback situation. I'm looking at Goff in the cold. I'm looking at the way the Packers are playing. The only worry I have is that Green Bay haven't beaten a lot of good teams this season. Like, we had that win against New Orleans. You can only beat what's in front of you, and they beat everybody that's in front of them, other than that terrible game they had against the Vikings. I don't think it really matters that we lost away to Tampa Bay, because we lost to Tampa Bay in October. We didn't lose to Tampa Bay at home at Lambeau Field in the cold. It's a completely different game. But yeah, that Minnesota Vikings performance was pretty bad. And the lack of decent opponents that we played. The one good opponent that we played when we really had to turn up and beat the shit out of somebody decent, that was the Tennessee Titans. So that puts us in good stead. But the only good defense that we really played is Chicago. And we did shred them in the end, but it took until the fourth quarter till we really started to put up those points.
You know what's a good bet that I actually do like is the first quarter over-under. And it's 9.5. I would say under.
Yeah, I even like the whole. I would prefer the first half under in this game, like the overall first half in general, because I think if the points start to come, it will start to be as people get tired later on in the game. I don't think the points are going to be flying onto the board early doors. So I'd prefer to take the first half under, which is what
22.5.
Okay, so it's not quite in the middle. It's a little bit leaning towards the first half being the lower score. But I mean, that's under 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a good bet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so nervous about the outright of the game where I'm looking for other things to, put money on. Like I said, like the first quarters, things like that. So let's get into the second game, and that is Baltimore versus Buffalo. This one, the spread is only, I believe, 2.5. Let me see.
It'll be 3 by tomorrow. It's definitely moving towards that direction.
Okay, so yeah, 2.5. I'm like, I'm feel safer when it is that. Buffalo's been hot. You do have that scared feeling, like when is Buffalo going to realize that they're still Buffalo and fall apart? And Ravens being hot like that, but they're looking good. They're looking sharp. I think they're still rolling, and I think this is when Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore had a hair up their ass for Tennessee after the dancing on the fucking logo earlier in the year. They got beat twice. They got beat down. Everyone thinks they don't have a chance. It's their division opponent. They want revenge a lot more. I think that means a lot more. Jackson never had a playoff win. He finally got that monkey off his back. He can relax. He doesn't have to have, I need a win. I need a win. So I would take Buffalo here minus the 2.5.
Yeah, I think you need to get it at 2.5 now because it'll be 3 tomorrow. Then you're playing with the entire field goal. Here's my take on this game. I think I looked mainly at props here. I like the rushing yards for Lamar at 67.5. I like the rushing yards for Allen, which is only at, let me check this was right. So I think it's only 33. And I think he can easily get over that early on in the game. I'm going to double check that because that does seem low. I had it in my notes, but I've got it here in my phone notes, not in my not in my notes for the show because I wasn't expecting to talk about props. But the thing is that when it comes onto this game, you want to be able to at least give something out because I have really, really mixed feelings about the game, about who wins the game. All right, here we go. Josh Allen over 33.5 rushing yards. And he does like to rush. He does like to run and make those first downs. And that 33 cashed easily, would have cashed easily last week. So here's the thing. The Buffalo Bills should win this game. Like the Ravens don't like playing in the cold. Lamar's never played in the cold. Ravens have beaten nobody all season other than that emotional game last week against the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans didn't play well. You could say that Henry had a bad game, or you could say that the Ravens stopped Henry from playing. He ran for 40 yards last week with 19 attempts.
Yeah.
He was getting 100 on the regular like previously, and his line last week was set at 123 yards, and he only managed to get 40. So I don't know whether you credit the Ravens for that or whether you say that the Titans had a bad game. He had a bad game, and if he had a bad game, it's really difficult for the Titans to win. It's hard to say. This Ravens team also came back from behind. There is a feel that they are a team of destiny, but the Bills are the better team. The Bills have now won 9 in a row. They only lost before that because of the Hail Murray as well. And since that, they've been a lot better. They've been covering spreads, although they didn't cover last week. And see, that's the concerning thing. The Indianapolis Colts last week had the ball for 34 minutes of that game. And they're not a team that are going to run the ball as much as the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are a better running team than the Colts. And they could dominate the ball for even longer than that. And if the Ravens have the ball for 40 minutes, they are going to win this game. If anybody has the ball again for 34 minutes, they are going to win this game as well. So that's the issue. The Bills, they seem to, their asses seem to get tight last week. They seem to allow the Colts back into the game. And the Colts themselves, they didn't want to win the game. They were doing stupid shit like going for it on the 4th and 1 when they should have kicked the field goal to put them up 2 possessions. They were going for 2 points for no reasons whatsoever. They just made so many mistakes. The Colts threw that game away, and then the Bills still almost let them get back in it. There's no way the Colts should have covered that spread. So I'm very unhappy that the Bills allowed them to do that last week because everything was looking nice in that game. I'd already won 2 props, and then they ended up losing the spread at the last minute. So I don't trust the Buffalo Bills that much. It does look like their asses are getting tight, but it's difficult to take the Ravens because the Ravens have previously been that team that have failed in the playoffs. Lamar hasn't won a playoff game, and And yeah, now he's coming into the cold. So I would lean the Bills just simply because I think that they're better and I can see more ways that they win the game. I'm just not very happy with the Bills' mentality, and I just find them to be unreliable. I just see them losing a game that they should win. Like I see them maybe being ahead in this game and fucking it up and allowing them back in the game. They did that the year before. Do you remember how the Bills went out the previous year against the Texans, right?
Yeah, I remember Josh Allen laying on the floor.
Yeah. So there's that side of it that worries me. Look, one of these two teams are going to overcome the obstacle of being one of these two teams. That's the way it's going to be. Somebody is going to stop being who they are. I mean, last week the Ravens overcame their playoff jinx and beat the Titans, and the Bills also did it, but neither of them were particularly convincing in doing that. When Derrick Henry runs for so little yards, the Ravens should have been more convincing. They also started 10-0 down. Listen, if either of these teams get 10-0 down in this game, they should lose. Like, these two teams are both front runners as well. I like the over in this game. I don't know why it's gone down. It was previously at 50.5, and now you're getting it at 49.5. I will say this. This is the only over that I like this weekend. I think that the rest of the games are all going to go under the total. So when you're looking at totals for the other games, there's no point even asking me because I do think that the totals are too high and they all are going to go under this week.
Okay. Like I was saying, I think the Bills will win this. And the only way I don't think they cover 2.5 is if they lose. They have to flat out lose to lose they're not winning by 1.
So let me tell you a really interesting statistic here. Here we go. Playoff teams that won the game, they cover the spread 82.3% of the time overall. So if you win, you end up covering 82.3% of the time. Now listen to this number for the last 4 years. It's 38-4 for playoff winners who won the game they covered. So basically, Cav, only 4 teams in the last 4 years have lost and covered the spread. You know how many teams lost last week and still covered the spread? 2. 2 teams already did it last week, and they did it on the Saturday. The Redskins finished up going up at we picked it at 7.5, so we were okay, but it ended up going up at 8.5, and they ended up covering the spread. And the Indianapolis Colts did it as well. So last week, 2 teams have done what only 4 teams have done in the last 4 years. So it's 38-4 that the teams that win playoff games always end up covering. And as I said, all time in the history of the playoffs, 82.3% of the teams that win also cover the numbers. So really, when you're looking at the games, you shouldn't really be worrying about these lines. If you think the Packers are going to win, you should be able to just take the Packers and not worry about a 6.5. If you think the Bills are going to win, you shouldn't worry about 2.5 points. Here's where it kicks in and makes a difference. In the next game, you have to lay 9.5 points. So that's when that statistic really comes into play. Because
on mine, it's 10.
Oh, it's gone up to 10. I'm still getting
on mine at least.
Okay, I've still got it sitting at 9.5 here for me. So this is where it really comes into play. What do you think about this game on Sunday?
I don't want anything to do with this game. 10 is too much. I see that last second bullshit to cover it. Not even close to winning the whole time. However, they get backdoor bullshit. I could see it. They're up by fucking 14, shit like that. Or even if they're up 17, they get that touchdown and then it's fucking that wash of 10. I don't like this. The over under is 57.5. I might go over.
Really?
Because neither of their defenses are something to fucking write home about. Well, and plus, I think
here's a funny statistic here that I pulled up. Playoff totals are over 56, and there's only been 7 of them. 6 of them have gone over. So when they set the total really high, don't be afraid of it, because 6 times out of 7 it has gone over.
Because I also think the Browns are going to play catch up. So it's going to be a lot of passing. It's not going to be as much running. They say it's that Hunt revenge game, which makes no sense because it's not like the Chiefs did Hunt bad. He fucked up and they cut him. So I mean, if they do the whole we're going to keep Mahomes on the sideline bullshit and run, then Mahomes comes on the field and throws 3 passes and scores. Right. And then they're going to try to grind again and fucking score. And then Mahomes scores in 2 again. They're going to have to start fucking throwing it. They're going to have to start whipping it around the fucking field. So I just don't, I'd be safer going with the over than I would be with covering 10. I don't like that it is right on a number like that. If they gave me a half, I'd be a lot more comfortable. Like I would be more comfortable with how you have it at a 9.5 than I do at a 10. It just ends up on 10s before it would end up on 9s.
Well, you can buy it down. Like you can just spend a little bit of money to buy it back down to 9.5. For me, luckily, I still got it at 9.5. But look, here's the thing. Here's some like statistics and some reasons why I think it goes under. Andy Reid is obviously very, very good off a bye. He has a great record off a bye. This counts as being off a bye. So he usually is very, very good at preparing his teams. He's also very, very good at preparing his teams to come out after the half. This team are one of the best teams defensively in the league in the third quarter. So if the Browns can't put up points in the third quarter, that's also going to keep the total down. Initially, when you're looking at how this game is going to start, the Browns are going to be running the ball because they are going to be trying to keep Mahomes off the field. Now, the only way I think this goes over if the Chiefs make the shitty start that they made last year, where they went 10-0 down and came out cold. That could be your big problem here if you are going to take the under. But for me, with the exception of that happening, I do think that we're going to see initially a Browns running game. We're obviously going to see some running here from the Chiefs, but mostly a passing game as well. And I think we could see that quiet third quarter. And the reason I also think the Chiefs cover this game, there's one stat here. I don't think it means much, but it's interesting. Teams that scored 39 points or more in the playoff games the week before end up losing or it's actually not even losing. It's 7-19 ATS. So they only covered 7 times out of 26 when they scored 39. So scoring a lot of points isn't good. The weird thing is that it's better to not concede any points because when scoring points is bad, conceding points is actually conceding no points is good because teams that allow 10 points or less in the playoffs, they end up going 52, 31, and 2 ATS the following week. They win 63% of the time and cover. So it's the teams that score 39 or more, they end up not covering. They're 7-19 ATS, so they only cover 27% of the times. The Browns fall into that category. And as I said earlier as well, divisional dogs who are off a wild card upset, like this team are, they're 12-46 straight up and 22-36 against the spread. The problem is that the spread is relatively big, but I do think that they'll cover it because I think last week the Browns won the Super Bowl. I think the Browns won the Super Bowl. Ben Roethlisberger ended up in tears. Like you saw him there, like the man who has scored the more points at the Cleveland Browns than any of their quarterbacks ended up crying. Like the misery that like Roethlisberger has put on this team over the last decade, and then to see him crying, and then to do it with all these players like missing as well last week, to go and win at Pittsburgh. I think this team already had their Super Bowl, and I think that you may see signs of that this week. I don't think that they're going to turn up for this game. That's why I think 9.5 gets covered, and I also think it goes under because I don't think the Browns are going to put up a load of points either. I think this, for me, this is going to be like a 30-17 kind of game.
Okay. So let's get with the last one here. It is Tampa Bay, and on mine, it only is 3 points. Tampa against the Saints. The Saints are giving 3 points to the Bucks. I am going with the upset special here. I'm saying Tampa Bay wins this game. The way the Saints looked last week, the Bears should have fucking won the game. They flat out were fucking better until, I mean, it took a while, but they were not fucking good, the Saints. Their defense is obviously, but I mean, it should have been 10-7 at halftime if the Bears don't drop the ball in the fucking end zone. The one time Mitch throws the ball fucking correctly. I was not impressed, and I was wanting the Saints to win that game. So I was like, Jesus Christ, they're letting them hang around.
I never understand it when you say that, but
because I want people fired, even though they didn't fucking do it.
okay, but what if you win the Super Bowl? Like, you still want people
They're
fired?
not winning no damn Super Bowl. They didn't even belong in the fucking playoffs. They
No, I
fucking
agree.
only made, it was 8-8. Get the fuck out of here. They only got in because of this weird format this year. No business in it. What would have happened next week? They would have went to Green Bay and got fucked again by fucking Green Bay. And at this point, I need someone to knock the fuck out Green Bay. I don't need this, Billy. I don't fucking need them around. So I'm like, all right, I will be a fucking suicide bomber. I will have to blow myself up to kill Green Bay. And that's what's going to happen. I'm like, good. The Saints have a better fucking chance. Go over there. And I was hoping it would have been the Bucs going to Green Bay first, because I would think that would be a harder challenge, because they've beaten them this year. So I say, okay, there's one roadblock. And then the second one would have been the final stop then would have been for the Saints. And then you're going to have, of course, Kansas City. So I was like, all right, this is the hardest one for them. I'm doing fucking chess trying to figure out how they fucking lose. This is the life of a fucking Bears fan. You worry about the Packers losing more than the fucking goddamn fucking Bears winning. It's a sad fucking state of affairs. I did a podcast this week by myself, an hour-and-a-half podcast by myself, listening to the Bears press conference and screaming about everything during it. That is on my that's my Patreon this week, because they say the stupidest shit. The reason why they kept people, I was very impressed after the 6-game losing streak that they didn't give up. Motherfucker, you kept people because of a 6-game losing streak? Fucking assholes. I'm going to fucking kill myself. So Tampa Bay, I just do not think you're beating Tom 3 fucking times. They've gotten better.
Oh, you're gonna go down that angle. Like, I'm gonna kill that angle in a second. So okay.
I can't. I know, and I giggle every time you go, Tom, come to Green Bay and it's fucking cold. I giggle every time where I go, yeah, he never played in New England. Saints not at real home with this fake bullshit home. That's a big deal to me.
They got some people there.
Fuck. Me and you make more noise, but just to us together. I can't imagine they can't figure the Saints out that after fucking 2 times. I'm like, to beat someone 3 times is fucking rough to me.
It's not.
Figure. Go ahead.
It's statistically not. You're thinking of that sentence that you keep quoting. That comes from college basketball. It's difficult to beat teams 3 times in college basketball. It actually doesn't happen very often. In the NFL,
in baseball, never either.
In the NFL, it's only happened 7 times in history. And you know what's happened? The team that's trying to win 3 times in a row, they've achieved it 5 times out of 7. So historically, that's not correct. Like, the comment that teams are hard to beat is not correct, because 5 times out of 7, that team has gone on to achieve the sweep.
What do you like on over/under of 52?
I like the under. I think that the Saints will be able to keep the Bucs from scoring, and I think that the Bucs, they're number 1 against the run, so they'll be able to stop Kamara. So you are going to be relying on Drew Brees putting it through the air. But look, here's the key data here for this game, and this is the game where I have the most data for. Teams that allow 10 points or less in the playoffs are 52, 31, and 2. 63% ATS the following week. That's the Saints. The comment that it's hard to beat a team 3 times is not factually true, as it's 5-2 when teams have played 3 times in the same season. New Orleans have held teams to 10 or under in 5 of their last 10 games. Tom Brady has been sacked 3+ times in 5 games this season, right? Do you know what the Bucs record is in those 5 games where he's been sacked over 3 times?
No, I got another stat, though. Go ahead.
0-5. And the Saints have gotten those 3 sacks or more in 10 of their 17 games this season. So for me, this is the strongest play of the show.
You're gonna convince me like last week with the fucking Titans. You're gonna end up fucking me over again.
Listen, it's facts and stats.
Well, here was the weird fucking stat too, that they said the Bucks had only beaten one team from the playoffs. The teams that have gone to the playoffs, they fucking lost to, except for one of them.
Right.
And that was Green Bay. That was the only team they beat out of all the playoff games, including Chicago, who beat them. It was like anyone who had, put on pressure. And like you said, that is a major thing. If they could get pressure on Brady, I feel the same way, almost with the same as the pressure on Rodgers.
Here's the other thing. Tom Brady has looked terrible in every single primetime game this year. I think other than the game against Washington, he's lost all of them. And Tom Brady legitimately goes to bed at 8 p.m. So he's playing past his bedtime in all of these things. That's probably why he looks so bad.
I'm telling you, man, I have my crush on Tom. Fucking that handsome fucking devil. But that is a different fucking animal when it is in the playoffs. He is, like you say, it's very much like Rodgers. It is very fucking hard to bet against somebody like that when they are they are not even the level above.
Did he look like a different animal last year when he was getting beaten by the Tennessee Titans? When he ended his career at the Patriots with an interception, how did he look then?
Well, sure. I mean, listen, yeah, like you said, there's not going to be every game.
He even looked good last week. Did he even look good last week?
Oh, what was fucking score? How much did they put up? They put up a fucking zillion points because their defense was fucking trash. That was a scary part too, because the defense, whoever this new quarterback was,
Heineke is the quarterback. So Heineke is making the defense look like trash.
Yeah. So it was like he had to keep up. So it was like they were scoring, which is on a good defense too, is Washington. So, but I'm like, this Heine fucking kid. I go, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm willing to trade 2 first rounders for this fucking guy.
We've seen the Colts. We've seen the Colts and the Saints defenses. The Bucks and the Colts defenses declined through the season. By the time the Bucks played that game, and I was doing my research last week, they were number 1 against the run, but overall they had dropped to the 6th best defense in the league. Now, if you're number 1 against the run, how bad are you against the pass if you can't average that out and you're still number 6? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you're number 1 at something, but you're number 6 overall, you have to be like pretty bad at the other thing. So they've been putting up a load of shit through the air. And as I said, they might be able to stop Kamara here in this game, but like it's going to be all coming through the air. Look, last time these two teams played, they got beaten 38-3.
Yeah.
So like, I don't understand how you recuperate that difference. I think they'll do well to even be in this game.
Wow. You think it's that much of that 3 points ain't shit for you?
I'm not going to take the 3. I'm just going to take the Saints on the money line. Like, I think I want it at 2.5, or I might buy it down to 2.5 if I play it. But yeah, I prefer it just on the money line here, because that you can get that at the odds of 7 to 10, which means that, okay, you're not winning. So normally when you bet at like, you're getting the minus 110, like you 10 to 11, you win £90, don't you? £91. Or if you put 100 down, you make a 91 profit. Mm-hmm. Well, you can get 70. You can get a 70 profit here just to take them here on the money line and not worry about those 3.
All right, let's get to our locks then on what we like. My lock is going to be very fucking odd now, because we were going through a lot of different fucking over-unders and this and that. I'm going to take that first quarter under of the Green Bay game. Okay. And I will do the under for 9.5 points in the first quarter of Green Bay.
Just take the first quarter. Okay, I thought you said the
first quarter, 9.5.
I got to be careful, so I got to put your play out on my website. So yeah, it's not the first half; it's the first quarter.
First quarter. I circled it so I could tell you later on if that's the case. And then if I want to do like a game bet instead for everybody out there, I will be taking Buffalo minus the 2.5. That will be the other one.
Okay, so my top play will be, I'm going to take Saints on the money line. I'm not going to mess around with that 3 just in case of the backdoor bullshit. And this team have beaten Tampa Bay twice this season. We've got all the statistical data there to take it. I'm just a little bit worried about the complacency side of things from this team. Last week they let the Bears hang around. I don't think they'll do that with a with a divisional rival here like Tampa Bay. I think they'll just beat them flat out 3 times. But I just don't want to fuck around with that 3. I'm just going to take the straight up money line here as a lock for a secondary. I don't really want to do it. Actually, I'm not going to do it. I think Green Bay do win this game. I think Green Bay cover. It's 21-3 ATS. You know what? I will do it. I just think that it makes more sense. I was between Green Bay and Kansas, and it's very, very close for me because I just don't see the Browns turning up for this game.
I like that you call them Kansas every time.
The problem is that the Chiefs haven't covered a lot of spreads this season. Like, they just haven't bothered. They've let the loads and loads of teams backdoor them. In fact, I think they have a losing record. Against the spread. So I think the only reason I don't want to take the Packers is because I'm sitting here wearing a Packers top, and I desperately—
You don't want to jinx them.
Yeah, I don't want it. So, but at the end, it's a secondary play. It's my secondary play. So it's not my top play of the day. So, like, the one that you guys need to officially get on is New Orleans Saints on the money line. And as a bonus play, my secondary play will be Green Bay 6.5.
Okay, that is Billy's lock of the week. It's almost time, Billy. It's almost fucking done with. It's a sad fucking state of affairs.
If I could have locked up a prop, I would have locked up a couple of props there. I would have locked up the Josh Allen over 33 and Lamar Jackson over 67.5 rushing yards for both, because I do think they're both going to be getting those yards on their feet.
I think what we should do also during because football's whatever, we could always have a here and there show for football if there's some signings or something goes down, trades, whatever. And also we should do a little draft fucking show too when that's time. That's in like April.
That's the thing. I don't really follow college football, but
I don't either. But I mean, we could read what people say on shit or whatever, and
I always know who the first rounders are. I always look into who the first rounders are, and yeah, like, so I mean that's where my interest starts to drop when we get down to the second, third, fourth round, etc.
Yeah, of course.
Interesting that the Jets gave up that pick, and now it's like interesting as well, like that Peterson could be going from the Eagles to the Jets. I don't understand why you'd want to do that. I guess you have to work. I think you need to work. So I just wonder who will be taking over at the Eagles and who the quarterback's going to be there next year, because rightfully they should just come back next season and they should compete for the East. And even though they've got McCarthy, Dallas should just win the East next year. Like, the East shouldn't be the East that it was this year. It should be 2 teams who are able to get 9 or 10 wins at least, with Dallas and the Eagles. And I think this was a real chance for the Giants to get here. And in the end, it was the Redskins that wasted that space. I think the Giants would have given Tampa a better game last week, but even the Redskins only lost by 8. And yeah, that's just even more reason why I'm just not convinced by Tampa Bay and playoff Brady and all that kind of stuff. Have you seen the History Channel picture of Brady and Breeze for this game?
No, I saw somebody posted a picture of them with like gray beards and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the one. That's from the History Channel. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. It'll be Hurts is the quarterback of Philly, and I say Wentz goes to Indianapolis. That is my prediction for that.
If Philip Rivers officially retire after that game?
No, but they have an option to let him go. There's a 2-year thing, and they could just get rid of him.
What about Wentz going to the Saints? Because I do think that Breeze will retire.
Well, I mean, they want to keep that fucking Taysom Hill as the fucking next guy, or fucking, as I like to say, Seamus Winston. So I doubt they would bring him in.
It's weird when they bring him in like in the game. Like, I've not seen that very often where they fucking bring somebody in to like he plays in the games now. Like,
it's like college.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do some weird wildcat shit because he can throw, he can run, he does fucking, he's all utility. Very much college guy. The other little rumors that were going around were for Watson. Now, the rumor was that they would trade Tua in Miami and their first round pick and some other shit, I guess, to go there. I said, for one, it's your own conference. You're not going to trade AFC. That's I don't think so. I think that's dumb. The other two that I heard, other than the Bears trying, because everyone goes, give them anything you fucking want and write your mistake because you should have took him in the first place. They'd all of a sudden be a fucking capable team. Like, I think guaranteed 10 wins if Watson's there. I hear that they say the 49ers should go get him. If the 49ers got him, that would be fucking scary too. However, they have like, I heard it was like 40 people were fucking free agents this year. So half the secondary is going to the Jets with the fucking coach, all that kind of shit. So a lot of people are leaving, which will bring them down. The other one I heard, which call it a fucking day, would be they would trade Goff and some picks and have him go to the Rams. If that was the case, the Rams are going to be fucking hurting people for fucking years. You're going to be fucking people with that defense and with him as the fucking quarterback. I can't even, I hope that doesn't happen because that's our fucking lives are going to be miserable then and never get out of the fucking NFC.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will see if they get rid of him. I think they should just try to work it out because it's a franchise quarterback. That doesn't happen.
So we have a this weekend. What's this story here? Like the Packers have a Colts defender playing for them this week.
Yes.
He played and lost last week, and he's getting to play for Green Bay this week.
Yeah, because he was put on practice squad, one of those little loopholes. So he gets to get picked up because he was on a practice squad. So you're allowed to fucking take somebody. So he's playing 2 weeks, two different teams. So that's a little interesting tidbit. He's not like he's some player though. But
has it ever happened before?
No, I don't believe so. That was the big deal about it. So. All right, everybody, go check out my nonsense at Lingus Mafia. You could check out Billy's betting stuff at Lock Betting. What else you got going on over there, Bill?
Yeah, just that. Like we're looking for a bounce back. We went 2-4 last week with the picks. We went 2-4 on props as well. Sorry, I think we did better than that because I think we landed 2 props immediately in the first game. I think we went 3-4 on props actually. I have to check. We lost money. We've made money for 12 weeks of the season so far out of 18, and the weeks that we made money, it was huge. Last week we lost money. The wild card round is always difficult. You should always just stick with the underdogs usually. But last week it didn't look like there were going to be many underdogs there. The divisional round is always the round where things straighten up. And touch wood, I've done enough research this week, so hopefully we will be able to make a profit on that. Even if we don't, we are 29-13 in soccer so far in 2021. We're winning money in the NBA nearly every day, and we've got 8 straight winning days of tennis. And there'll be tennis, the Australian Open coming up at the end of the month. We've got UFC coming up with the Conor McGregor fight, and we're on a 15-3 run in boxing. Plus, we have WWE Royal Rumble at the end of the month as well, so we'll be able to make some money with that too. So that's everything we got going on over at lockbetting.com.
My parlay was the only thing that saved me this last week, and that was I put as much as I could on Bucks and Redskins. That was I mean Bucks to win, and then fucking Saints.
Yeah, my one last week where I said, why are you not putting 500 on this?
I fucking was putting money on everything, and then I was like left, I think, with like 75.
It actually wasn't even close. It was one of those things where you couldn't put enough on it. Like it wasn't. You were never. I mean, the games, they weren't blowouts necessarily, but they weren't close either. It was weird. It like you look at the scores and you think, oh, I'm not sure. Like, how can you say that's an easy night? Sure. But I had those parlays on, and I was never worried about the Skins or the Bears.
I made a third parlay with that because remember we talked and we go, you want to throw in fucking Pittsburgh into that one, maybe? And I was like, this is where I always get fucking bit. So I made a side one with like for fucking $10 and did all 3. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, fuck this. Always too greedy, and I get bit. So
I think if I added a third one last week, I would have probably added the Bills, so I would have been okay. But like, obviously, that would have been more nervous.
I think you would have picked Tennessee, no? Because you were fucking
not
about Tennessee winning that game.
not for a parlay. I took Tennessee as an underdog already. That was enough. Like you don't need to add Tennessee to a parlay. Tennessee were already a 6-4 underdog last week. So if you put 100 on Tennessee, you end up getting 250 alone anyway. So like they were a big underdog going into that game, even though it was only 3.5 points. They were still a big enough underdog to take outright.
All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we will be back next week. So get out there and make that money.
He could go all the way.
Okay.